17's Heineken River Deck at the Seaport. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose. We have some images of the new duo that will be wearing purple and gold. LeBron James and Russell Westbrook went to Summer League to support the team, got a workout in. And my favorite part about this is in the caption, LeBron James joked, "I agree, I don't think this will work either." Mr. Rose, what do you think about this duo and LeBron James once again firing back at the haters?
So we gonna make the Lakers the underdogs this year? Is that what we trying to do?
That's what LeBron's trying to do.
I just want to know. Okay, because they're betting odds that the Los Angeles Lakers are going to win the West, right?
Yep.
Ain't those the betting odds?
Pretty clear.
So that
favorites,
means they're an actual favorite, right? That means they're a favorite, right? I just wanted to make sure I said that out loud. They're a favorite. They're not an underdog. As a matter of fact, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Hall of Famers that are going to be playing for their team this year. Yeah. I am not worried about their fit. And the other thing I got to teach everybody about my guy, Brody Russ. Let me teach y'all something. As somebody that grew up idolizing the Big O, I thought no one, if Magic didn't do it, if Jason Kidd didn't do it, if LeBron didn't do it, would ever eclipse his triple-double record. Now he just gets them at halftime. So this idea that he's not going to fit in, newsflash, when you average a triple-double, you fit in anywhere. It's basketball. They'll be just fine.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. Another thing is, there are people that think this isn't a good fit. There are people that think that this will not work. But those people are wrong. It's Russell Westbrook and LeBron James. Maybe they don't fit together on the court at the same time, but that's why they brought Dennis Schroeder in to be a second playmaker with the second unit. Would you rather have Dennis Schroeder on your team or Russell Westbrook, triple-double machine, future Hall of Famer on your team? There's a reason Dennis Schroeder got $5.9 million from the Celtics and a one-year deal. Russell Westbrook is a much more valuable player. Their roster from top to bottom is much better than last year. So yes, people did say they were old. People did say that it won't work. Those people are wrong, LeBron. You are the favorites to win the West, and clearly the favorites. Clearly the favorites. But you know what? Whatever you got to do to motivate yourself. You're in like year 20 of your career. Whatever you got to do to motivate yourself. Remember this tweet? When he was like, he's just, whatever he has to do to motivate himself, whatever your process is, LeBron, enjoy it, because I once again see you being an MVP candidate and number one in the West. Go ahead.
There's an animal that the NBA has not been introduced to yet. That's Russell Westbrook playing in purple and gold in front of his family and friends. Y'all thought that gentleman played with intensity and ferocity before. Oh man, it's about to be on a whole different level. And when you talk about it working, it ain't necessarily about like they're a perfect match made in heaven basketball-wise. There are gonna be some kinks there, of course. But the bottom line is they're going to be a terrific team, and Russell Westbrook is going to have a really good season.
And they also have Anthony Davis. Just throwing that out there. They also have a healthy Anthony Davis coming back to start. Without Kawhi Leonard, but they will be with Eric Bledsoe. Pat Beverly and Rondo go to the Grizzlies, 2 in this arms race for the Battle of Los Angeles. Well, with Kawhi Leonard recovering from surgery, it doesn't feel like that's necessarily the case anymore, especially with Russell Westbrook being added to the Lakers. However, they acquired Eric Bledsoe. They sent Rajon Rondo and Pat Beverly to the Grizzlies to get Bledsoe. Do you think that makes them a better team after this move?
I believe if Kawhi Leonard is healthy, it makes them a better team. It's a fringe move in theory if they're not going to get all NBA caliber Kawhi. And hopefully he's able to recover from his injury and able to play a lot of games this year. But this is a classic example of veteran contracts moving around and adjusting to your role as you get older. Because a couple of seasons ago, Patrick Beverley was the starting point guard of the Los Angeles Clippers, right? Now he's going to go to Memphis. That's Ja Morant's job. Dylan Brooks, who you know I really like, having those three on the floor, in particular the latter two, they're going to be locking down defensively. So now Pat Bev in a new role, a reduced role, but still defensively he's going to be able to have an impact. I like it for him a lot. And Eric Bledsoe made some plays when he was in LA. He wasn't necessarily the guy that could play alongside Zion because he's not necessarily a shooter. And so he's been to a couple of teams. I like it for the Clippers. I like it for the Grizzlies, who outplayed expectations this season.
Jalen Rose, the expectations are high for the number 1 overall pick, Cade Cunningham. And while it still is early, and while it still is Summer League, he's meeting up to those expectations. We'll talk about your number 1 overall pick and Luka Garza, your favorite new player in the NBA.
End of an era in LA for the Clippers, at least. Over the weekend, they traded longtime point guard Patrick Beverley to the Grizzlies for Eric Bledsoe, who's headed back to the team that drafted him. Also going to Memphis in the trade, Rajon Rondo, Daniel Arturo. The deal saves the Clippers $30 million in luxury tax and creates an $8.3 million traded player exception that they will have a year to lose. Max Kellerman. Did the Clippers improve?
They did. And this was a good trade for the Clippers. You know how I say you don't want to trade, break a dollar into 4 quarters in the NBA, but you want to turn 4 quarters into $1? Mm-hmm. This is more like 2 quarters into a 50-cent piece. Eric Bledsoe can attack the basket. You give up Patrick Beverley, he's a defender. Rondo, high basketball IQ, but Rondo's getting long in the tooth. Like, he really has been declined, and we saw even like playoff Rondo didn't. When playoff Rondo didn't show up, that tells you he's just getting older. And Patrick Beverley was never a dynamic offensive player, but he could play some defense and, give you that fighting spirit. Well, Bledsoe does the same thing. He can do defensively and even be more disruptive defensively sometimes based on his athletic ability. Than a guy, than what they lost. And meantime, he's a player who can get to the basket and score. And they have shooting on the team, so Bledsoe's not a great shooter, but it's not as much of an issue. In fact, the spacing may even help him attacking the basket. This is, the Clippers just got better because they got the best player in the deal.
Max, I disagree with you. It's not that I'm saying that Patrick Beverley is better than Eric Bledsoe, because I'm not. And I like Eric Bledsoe. He's not a scrub. He can play really strong as well, and he can put some points up. I get that point. So technically speaking, you're right about him being a better player. But I got to tell you, I'd rather have Patrick Beverley come postseason. And last time I checked, the Clippers are trying to win the championship. This is what it is. The Los Angeles Clippers, legitimate argument could be made, should be standing here today as NBA champions. If Kawhi Leonard had gone down near the end of the Utah series, a lot of people believe the Clippers would have beaten the Phoenix Suns. And I'm not ruling that out. Not with Kawhi and Paul George playing the way that he was playing. With Kawhi averaging 30 on 57% shooting from the field and 39% from three-point range before he went down. But then when you take into account, the energizer bunny that Patrick Beverley was, his ability to defend, and he actually was hitting some key, not in abundance, but he was hitting some key pivotal shots. And the Utah series, obviously a couple of games against Phoenix. I just get it from the standpoint that being the professional Hall of Fame pest that he is, somebody that doesn't just goes out there and plays, but really, really tries to get into your head. I don't see that in Eric Bledsoe. I see a guy that just goes out there and plays hard. He doesn't cheat you. He's got game. He can play, but he's not somebody that's an Energizer Bunny that provides that kind of spark. And I think that come postseason time, particularly when you look at the Western Conference, I think those kind of intangibles are things that you need to get you over the hump. And I don't see that being Eric Bledsoe, which is why he's gone from Milwaukee and why they had no problems trading him for Drew Holiday. And ultimately, he was saddled in New Orleans before, and ultimately Memphis before he ended up being back in Los Angeles with Clippers. I think that Beverley is going
that anybody had a bad weekend. Please don't get me wrong, but when I looked at Zach Wilson, it was 6 of 9 passes for just 63 yards, but he was throwing like 5 different receivers.